So now we're out here, and this is the kids' jobs. They come out here and they don't pick each berry separately. They pick the whole cluster of berries, of currants. Let me see where I can get closer so y'all can see how the clusters grow here. So they basically pick a whole cluster, and each of them have to fill up their buckets. Toby and Olivia have been filling up. You want to show us? Yeah, but they usually pick a cluster so I can see the whole cluster. They usually pick then the whole cluster, and I just put the whole cluster in the pot to cook it. I don't cook each berry separately because the juice is getting out anyway. The cat just scared us. It's her neighbor's cat. Came bounding out of the, ouch, came bounding out of the bushes. So, at least on my screen, but there are quite, oh yeah, good job, Tobes, thanks. Yeah, that's good. There are quite a few berries. The leaves are blocking them, but they're just everywhere, all throughout the bushes here. And we only have, how many bushes do we have? These are only 2 bushes, but we've already gotten just 4 cookings of jelly out of them. Why is there Toby, did you accidentally dump some?
No.
Here on the ground? And they're allowed to snack on them while they're out here, but they tend to try to hurry so that they can go in. Ooh, let me show them that, Martin. Let me show them that. Here's Martin showing, here's like 8 clusters, or 10, all beside each other. Olivia, okay, Olivia's eating some. Now I couldn't take a video to show how you guys eat them. So this is how they eat them. They stick the whole thing in their mouth, and they just go whoop, and all the berries off. Okay, Toby, no, don't buck it. Now you have to eat that. If you licked it, you gotta eat it. Toby picks them off, evidently. Or do you put the whole thing in your mouth and...
No, he just do the ones that aren't good anymore. He picks them off, and then...
Okay, Toby picks each one off and makes sure there's nothing objectionable on it. Okay.
See?
Make sure there's no dirt or fuzzies.
Or animals.
Or animals. So, we firmly believe in child labor. No, they do a great job helping out. Hello, grandmother. So I thought I'd show you. I don't have any memory of what you used to make your jelly. We just enjoyed the jelly. But here in Germany, my mother-in-law gave me this, and I guess this is what a lot of the Germans use. Okay, so it's got 3 parts to it, this special pot. And I only use it for the fruit that's got, like the currants, that's got kind of big hard seeds, or if I'm just being lazy and don't want to mess with removing, like if it's sour cherries and I don't want to remove the pits of every single cherry, then I can throw it in here too. But in the bottom part comes water. I've still got some water because I've started a new batch. In the middle part, no, in the top part, you dump all the fruit in. Here I've got the bunch of currants that Toby and Olivia picked yesterday. And then you put it on the stove top and you turn the stove on, and the water heats up. And okay, so this thing is like a colander. I don't know if you can see the little holes. It's a colander all the way around. And then the middle part, all right, let me take the top part off. The middle part looks like this. So the steam, kind of like a bundt cake. So the steam comes up through the very bottom pot, through that hole, and heats up the fruit that's in the top. And then the fruit juice drips down into this middle pot. And it works really nicely. I don't lose any juice because the middle part, okay, the middle part of the juice pot is doesn't have holes. So the juice only drips through these outer holes, meaning that the juice doesn't drip down into the pot that has the water at the very bottom. So then I turn the stove on for, oh, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. And then once it's done, there's this nifty little hose. And this thing is keeping the juice in. And then I just open this up. I'm not going to do it now because it'll all come out. And slide it up to the top. And then the juice comes out of the hose. And I just make it go into another pot where I've got the sugar that I'm going to mix to make the jelly with. And it just makes the whole process very, very simple. Okay, so I thought I'd show you the process with the materials they have here that I use to make jelly or jam here. So I've got my pot, and this is a weigher, scales, a digital scale. So I put the pot on and tear it out, make it to 0. And then I'm probably not going to be able to do this with one hand, but basically I put the hose in the pot, release the juice. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this down. So basically I release the juice and it comes, oh my goodness. Okay, I can't do this with one hand, so I'm gonna turn it off, but it pours then into the pot and starts measuring how much I've got. So I empty it until it's at 1,000. I got lucky this time, and all of my juice just happened to be right at 1,000, a little bit more, but those couple of extra grams won't matter. Then, and you see I've got my jars all boiled. I boil them in hot water to make sure there's not any little, I don't know, stuff. And I measured, and each jar is about, the normal jars that we use is about 1.5 cups. I'm not sure what that is in pints and quarts, but anyway, so the sugar I use, it's a mixture of the stuff that makes it gel and sugar. So it's 2 to 1. I use 500 grams sugar to 1,000 grams of juice. So easy peasy. I'm not going to be able to open this with one hand. But I dump this pre-mixture of, this is how all the German housewives do it, so this pre-mixture, they don't have extra packs of gelatin. Okay, I can't do this with one hand. But basically, we dump the whole, okay, hold on. Okay, so we dump the whole sugar gelatin mixture in here. And then the instructions say to heat it to boiling and let it boil for a couple of minutes while stirring. I promise I turned all the way around with my Ed to do those sneezes. Okay, so we heat it up to boiling. Oh my goodness, I have to sneeze again. Turn it up a little higher. And basically, after it's boiled for a couple of minutes, we don't have to do anything else. Then we just we pour the almost still boiling mixture directly into the glass, into the jars, and put the lid on. Then I put the jars always on my stovetop so it's not too hot for the counter, and just the heat of the mixture that goes in there builds up a vacuum, and that you hear them pop, like this really loud pop noise, like after half an hour or so, where the vacuum has sealed the jars. So we don't have to at any time put the jars into a canner or anything like that. So that's our process. Okay, so we've gotten it boiling and a nice rolling boil. I keep stirring it so it doesn't stick, but as you can see, it's still pretty liquidy. It's not thick yet at all. I mean, maybe a tad, but not much. It doesn't thicken up until we got it in the glasses and it cools down. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off the heat. And if you'll back up a step, I've got to go over here now with the hot mixture to the jars. Okay, and then I just go right ahead and pour it carefully. Oh, shoot, I went over the edge, which means I'll have to wipe that off so that it doesn't. I'm not doing very well pouring today. And you got to fill these jars up pretty much to the brim. Otherwise, it doesn't always get a good seal. And I usually have then one jar that doesn't get filled up, and that's the one we eat on the next couple of days. Okay, so I got 3, but as you saw, I dumped some, just keep it on that. I dumped a little bit on the edge, and if I have just a paper towel, and I just wipe, ouch, hot. I just wipe off the edge to make sure there's stir here where my lid gets screwed down onto. Oh, I need a hot cloth. Okay. And I also did a little bit here on this edge too. So, I mean, that's really important to get it off. It will not build a good vacuum, and it will start molding there underneath the edge of the rest of the glass. I wipe down and wash down after I've got the lids on. Okay, and then I always need this cloth because it's so hot. I just make sure it's very, very well closed. You can see how much I spilled, of course. Trust while I'm making a video for me to spill it everywhere. Okay. It's extremely hot, as you know, grandmother, from your own jelly making days. And this one will not form a seal, but I go ahead and close it up anyway. Then I right away, before this turns into gooey jelly, wipe it up. As well as the bottoms of the glasses, which have gotten a little bit from me spilling. And I got 3.5, well, almost 4 jars from that batch. And I only make 1 batch at a time. My mother-in-law told me that. Never to make more than 1 batch at a time, because then it may be that the sugar doesn't dissolve well, it's too much juice, I don't know. I don't know if that's got any merit to it, but I stick to it. 1 batch of sugar at a time. So 1,000 grams to 500 grams of sugar each batch.